Hello everyone and welcome back to Imperator Rome. I'm Lord Foreign, this time with a country guide on Carthage. So I've gotten quite a few requests for this. I don't particularly like Carthage in this game. They are an immensely difficult nation with the updates they've had recently. You'd think a nation as large as they are, capable of, beating Rome in the first couple years of the game, would be stronger. But as a matter of fact, they're not. They have a lot of internal stability, ruler, and government issues. So I'll try and show you guys how to correct some of them, where to start to expand, yeah, stuff like that. So first off, you have a colony you could do in Corsica. You can speed this up if you want to by moving population in there to get 8 and then moving 8 to the next one and just quickly take over the rest of this island. Really up to you. Corsica doesn't bring you tons of income early on. You have enough here that you could attack Etruria if you want to. If you do that, you have a potential of gaining land right up next to Rome, and then you can use that as a staging ground to attack Rome. It depends if you want to go after Rome. But I'll go into that later. First thing you should do is you should merge your navy together, put on a commander, probably set them to automate or hunt pirates. Your navy starts out the strongest in the game, and with 78 ships should remain the strongest in the game for most of the game. Naval combat still is not as great as it could be, and it does make one heck of a difference. The next thing you got to do is you want to take this mission, Aftermath of the Revolution. So you have 3 choices here, basically, on how to handle your thing. Currently, you're an aristocratic republic. I recommend you try and stay as this one, because one of the benefits of an aristocratic republic is 5 loyalty of characters, which is huge. But, that is sometimes not the easiest to keep. As you can see, if you go over here, you can do Agents of the 104, and you can turn into an oligarchic republic. You can do Soldier from the Revolution. You get the Henid family. And then further down, you can do a plutocratic republic if you follow that. If you want to stay with the existing republic, you need to get 60% of the votes in the Senate, at which point you can, enact laws, endorse parties, strengthen the system here, and then you can do Carthaginian peace. And you will stay as your current government form. If you go Soldier from the Revolution, you can also snag this mercenary patron here, which gives you cheaper mercenaries for quite a while. It's really up to you. I recommend trying to stay with the existing one. It can be difficult, though, to get 60% of the votes, to the point that it's very hard to explain how to do it. So let's go into how we do factions. So every faction has a certain amount of approval and a certain amount of control. The way you boost the control is you basically give influence. It's how influential your characters are. So if you want to put a party in power and boost the power, you want to give them offices, you want to get them popularity as generals and stuff. There's a lot of stuff you can do with that. Yeah, that's basically how you do that. It's quite tricky. It takes quite a bit of time to manipulate them. I find it's much easier to overrun them, but then you start accruing tyranny super fast, and it's really hard to lower it. If you want to learn more about the parties, obviously you look at them. There are ways to help them. If you fulfill their agendas, you'll get approval from them. So if we did shorten terms here, obviously we'll gain some tyranny. I think we have to go forward a day for them to realize I did the agenda, or maybe it's a month. Let's just quick do that. Power is for helping your friends get 10% approval from the Democrats here. Now you have 70 of them. It would be really nice if the game explained more of it, but as you get more approval with each party, the more votes you get. So basically, you want to get your approval with all of them as high as you can. The easiest way to do that is fulfill their objectives at the cost of not damaging it with the others. You get approval here if you have tyranny, which makes it easy to boost approval with the oligarchs. But if you get approval, you lose it with the Democrats. And the traditionalists in the middle basically want you to be stable, have peace, have your same religion in charge, and be pious. The current guy is skeptical, basically. So basically, try and get the approval. I find it much easier to get approval rather than try and manipulate the amount of votes. It's a pain. Unlike Rome, you're going to be having this problem quite a bit more. Historically, Carthage suffered through quite a few tyrannical rulers over the years, so that's why I think it occurs at the regularity it does. Also, as Carthage, you start with an export value bonus from your heritage and navy maintenance, which is quite handy, but your navy is still super expensive. And a levy size multiplier. The other strategy with your army is you mothball it. You just basically put it in your lands, lower fleet maintenance, and you'll start making money again. As you can see, that's a 6 gold difference. Can be worth it, and then you can always unmothball it right before war. It's really up to you. I tend to mothball it or set it to hunting pirates. Obviously, maintaining the navy is going to be one of your biggest costs, but thankfully, if you have the navy, it's almost impossible for someone like Rome to invade you, which is obviously going to be your major issue is Rome. No one else in this area can threaten you in terms of strength. Really, Rome is your biggest threat. So you want to kill Rome early if you can. But that might be harder than one would think because Rome is super strong and they expand fast. So if you can't do that, you have 2 other areas of expansion. The Aegeus of Africa, basically the Shield of Africa, or the Aegis of Africa, actually. Or the end to Sicilian warfare. You've got a choice. You can basically subdue this area, which takes a long time. Or you can do this one and subdue this area. If you're worried about Rome being an issue, I would do this one first. Basically, it wants you to crush Syracuse and take over the whole island, which is actually not super hard to do. Syracuse is extraordinarily weak in the current patch. You can usually overrun them. You also have to increase your settlements here, so you have to build a city here, and you have to have population of 20. This is where move population comes in very handy. You can ferry in troops to get to 20. It costs you gold each time. But once you do, you can get to 20. You can proc that. At the end of this tree, you can get some more warships. You can get wine and grain, which produces surplus. You also have a decision to keep Sicily as part of yours or release it as a subject. Releasing a subject will give it the whole island, and it will muster 20 to 30,000 troops for your wars. If you're concerned about Rome, that's a way to do it because it will get you more troops than owning it yourself because they will have happiness with the pops. But it's up to you. I tend to release it as a subject, but it's also a very viable strategy to own it yourself. It's a very rich, very populous area. Be aware, though, that it's mostly Hellenic and you're Canaanite. And yes, that's the same Canaanite that's here in the Phoenician area. Basically, you're the only Canaanite nation in the West, other than some of these minor ones here, some of which are your subject, other ones are independent that you want to subdue. So just be aware of that. In terms of innovations to start, well, this kind of depends on how you're worried, if you're worried too much about revolts. Your lands are not particularly loyal to you. They will become more loyal as you convert it and stuff, but they don't really... You've got a little bit of Punic culture here and a little bit of your Canaanite religion, but it's not in every single one of your provinces. That's why things are rebellious. So you've got the standard choice between going religious, getting open religion, prescribed canon to convert things, and reduce governorship, going down the oratory tree to reduce aggressive expansion. Going down this tree also gets you the improve opinion, so you have a chance to create client states or tribal vassals out of a lot of this area. The issue here is that because of your Punic culture, which is similar to these ones, there's almost no way for you to get feudatories in this area because nothing is of your culture. It's quite frustrating. The other option is if you want to kill Rome early on and you're worried about beating them, which you should be, you can go down here and do military stuff. As it is, I kind of recommend you get professional training at minimum so you can raise a legion. A legion will make a big difference fighting Rome, and you'll still have just enough to get open religion and minor syncretism here. And that should give you stability at home long enough for you to kill Rome. It should also give you some discipline and a legion to help you kill Rome, all of which is very important. Sadly, the amount of troops you can raise is surprisingly poor for a nation your size. If you raise a legion, you can only have up to 16 units, which is a lot lower than you'd imagine for Carthage. Thankfully, you have plenty of city-states and tributary states around them. You start out with a lot of feudatories, which is all the feudatories you're going to get for most of the game. You also start out with some client states. These are very useful for your initial wars. If you do the Aegeus or Aegis of Africa, though, if we look at that mission, it wants you to basically integrate all your subjects in this area. You'll get events where they become slightly more rebellious and want independence. You can refuse them. Just be aware that they are your only feudatories you're going to get for most of the game. I mean, that's really the only way to explain it. At some point, you're going to have events like Mutiny of the Berbers here, which will result in a war between you and these guys. I wouldn't do this until you're secure in your power, or if you've abandoned trying to stop Rome and are just going to conquer Africa. Be aware, though, Rome will come for you. I even allied Rome at the beginning of the game, and they still came for me because eventually you get enough AE that it breaks the alliance with them. So, how to beat Rome? So, there are multiple ways. People will argue this way or that way to beat Rome. Some of the easiest ways to stop Rome's rise to power is ally everybody on their border. So, you ally Samnium here, which stops them from expanding in the south. Rome can't really expand past that, especially if you ally these guys. As you see, the tyranny's going up. Just like that, we've stopped all of Rome's southern expansions. If we could ally ourselves to Etruria, which is impossible because we have too many relations, we could stop them in the north. If we ally these guys, we're also good. We can fabricate claims right on Rome's capital at the beginning of the game. So if you want to stop Rome, that's the best way to do it. As it is, we've prevented Rome from basically expanding at all, except through their mission to get feudatories and subjects. At which point, we muster all our troops, load them onto ships, get them all here, declare war with the help of our allies, who should be willing to help us fight Rome, unless for some reason their opinion has improved or they're in a different war. You declare war, you land all your levies at once. You're still going to be struggling. Rome can muster quite a few troops. You get 20,000. Rome will be able to equal that or surpass it. This is where if you mothball your fleet or you save up enough money to hire a merc army, ideally you hire a merc army in Italy so you don't have to transport it. But you hire a merc army on top of that. You basically throw everything you can into beating Rome. If you win the first war versus Rome, you take Latium and Rome's dead. Without Latium, Rome is useless. If you can't take Latium in the first war, you take Campana down here. You take this area, and then you attack Rome later on. You take Latium, you've won. If you take out Latium, your only threat in the area is going to be Etruria, which you can beat pretty easily because they don't have nearly the levy strength of Rome. That's the easiest way to do it. If you leave Rome alive even for 5 to 10 years and you conquer, say, Syracuse in the meantime, Rome will have conquered all of this area and be moving up north almost immediately, at which point they are extraordinarily hard to stop. The sooner you attack them, the sooner you beat them, the better off you are. Leaving them alone to grow makes it super, super hard to stop them. You can do it, but why would you when you can simply do a surgical strike early on, take their capital area? Even if you can't take all of Rome, there is the option in peace deals to take individual provinces. Even if you just take Ostia and Rome itself and leave them with their other lands in Latium, you've already crippled them. They don't have a ton of population. Rome is the vast majority of their population. 60 almost live there. And once you've done that, Rome's no longer a threat. You can peacefully and easily expand through this whole area. It's not overwhelmingly hard. Carthage does have some achievements associated with them. Let's see, I don't know if I've taken any of them. If you own all of Hispania, all of this here, you get a Punic Ascendance. It's not very hard to do if you kill Rome. It's really not. What else we got here? If you wanted to get this achievement, Megalithic, you do have Megalithic religion in this land here. So you can very easily flip to them. Easy is a relative term. It takes quite a bit of effort to flip. But you can do it. What else we got here? There's not a ton as Carthage. Carthage, despite being a large nation, should be much more impressive than it is. Yes, it's a unique nation with some unique missions, unique heritage, unique events. But compared to Rome or even the successors, or even in some ways the Maura, actually it's probably equivalent to the Maura, it's sadly lacking in content. I really hope that Paradox does rework them and add some more stuff. You get a couple of neat missions to conquer stuff here. You get a couple neat missions in Iberia. But overall, it's kind of lacking in stuff. Down here, by the way, this deserves a special mention. There are 2 barbarian stuff behind this wasteland here. It's very hard to get rid of them. The easiest way to do this is actually to concentrate your population here. So if we do this, I'll just show you what I mean. If you do... Okay, it's not letting me do a move pop. If you move the population to this area here, you concentrate as much population as you can in 1 or 2 locations. Obviously, we can't move all of them around because some of them are not slaves. But if you get 8, then you can colonize here, and then you can improve your culture, try and stop them, and do the same thing till you get out to this one, the High Atlas Mountains. Once you subdue these barbarians here, obviously there's quite a few more barbarians to subdue. You'll get to most of them in the wars. This is, again, another wasteland, so you have to do the same thing. Concentrate your slaves, colonize your way through, then improve the culture civilization value to stop them. Don't worry too much about conquering Iberia, Hispania here. It's not hard to do. You basically just need to conquer this area first or deal with Rome, and everything is yours for the taking. So rough start, really rough if you don't take out Rome. As time goes on, it's much easier. Be aware that this tyranny, every time you make a decision with negative support in the Senate, it's going to go up. You really do need to get your number of votes over 50, which means fulfill these agendas. So, like, they want to build the territory of Sulki as one great temple. Obviously, if you go down religious, you get the great temple. You build it there. You get 10% approval. If you got 10% approval on these guys right now, that would put them above 50. It would also push the number of the support you have above 50, so you could work, or 51%, I think is the actual number. You could do a lot of stuff you want. Be aware that some of these guys' objectives conflict eventually. You can get approval from them if you want for a while. It does help to some degree. The monthly approval does help a lot, but you do lose 5% from the others. So if you use it, you want to use it on the large ones. As you can see, the Democrats are the smallest. So if we promoted our opinion with the traditionalists, it brought up our support. You can actually trigger multiple of these at the same time. I don't know if that's intentional, but as you see, our support went up even though we technically lost approval with others. And their approval is going to keep ticking up. So I do recommend, when you can, triggering them. If you trigger them, I kind of recommend you trigger them all at the same time so that they kind of all offset each other. And just like that, we got 50% approval. That will obviously go up higher as their approval ticks up. You'll be over 50. You don't have to deal with as much trouble passing laws and voting in the Senate. Basically, your stuff is pretty good. You want to obviously flip to Provisioning Act, get a legion when you can. You've got quite a few other stuff going on. The You do have a unique government here, so you don't have the same conversion laws as other nations. So you actually have to get to civic advances of 3. You don't need any specific like the open canon, prescribed canon here. This just doesn't give you the same benefit as other nations, and then you can immediately flip to it. So again, that's one thing you don't have to go all the way down to. You can just get the Grand Temples and leave it be. Stuff like that. Yeah, there's quite a few things. Sadly, there does not seem to be, and to be fair, I don't play this nation much because I don't like them. They do not have a culture conversion thing here. They do start out with a very nice negative 10% aggressive expansion, which is handy though. They do not have a culture conversion law. Instead, you have an integrated culture happiness law, which I should point out, it basically means you can support 2 more integrated cultures and keep your people happy. In terms of culture, you start out with the vast majority of your culture being Punic. Massilians, the other, you've already given them right of intermarriage. As you expand, obviously you'll get more. Since you do start out with a high primary culture happiness and you'll get laws that improve it, you can integrate more cultures than most nations can, which will make your nation stable. In terms of religion, you start out with all Canaanite deities, specifically ones that give unintegrated culture happiness, which is nice. Assimilation helps on the culture conversion. Since you don't have a culture conversion law, it also gives you commerce income. The other option is you flip to this one, which is megalithic, which I don't recommend you do. But if you want passive income, you could do it that way. Thankfully, this guy you start here with Baal Quarnam is really good. Aggressive expansion change as passive, tyranny as its activation. It's probably the best of the ones you can work with. This one's not bad for provincial loyalty, though, as well. So just be aware. Check out the deities, figure out which ones you really want. Global food modifier is nice. Honestly, I prefer the growth if you're going to do anything, or the happiness. Overall, Carthage, fun nation. Kind of a little bit crippled by lack of really deep content, although it's more than tribes and stuff. And obviously you have to fight Rome. So good luck. Keep your navy strong. Obviously go down to your traditions when you can. Your first one here, hard bargain, and then skilled recruiters. You can get 25% cheaper merc armies, which is basically how Carthage fought its wars. So I do recommend you grab those probably first. They will make quite a big difference in your ability to fight wars. Basically, you don't use your levies, you just hire mercs because you should have a ton of money from trade. It's very powerful. Once you get some of Rome's lands, you can embrace the Punic influence and get the Italic tradition groups. The Italian tradition groups are obviously much stronger than yours in terms of land combat, so you want to do that. Further down here, if you can get local knowledge and stuff, you can basically keep your subject states loyal, get them all happier, and get tribute from them. And then at the bottom here, noble warlords, loyalty of generals and admirals is really handy if you can get it. Sadly, you don't get any innovations or provincial investments really from this tree. You get a lot of navy stuff, which I don't really like the navy bonuses, but it's there. The merc, cheaper mercs is actually the strongest thing you have. Obviously, there's some innovations that can strengthen that and events, so consider those as options. Use mercs to fight your wars after your initial wars with Rome, which you should bring mercs to anyway. If you want to stop Rome, ally the people around them. You can neglect these guys, Sabina, and probably Apula down here. Instead get Etruria, and then basically declare war on them from both sides and wipe them out. It's not overwhelmingly hard. I've done it 2 of the 3 times I tested it. The 1 time I failed, I didn't bring mercs. So, good luck, good conquering, rule the oceans as Carthage. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.